What's good, everybody? Hope you're doing great. Hope you're having a great day. I hope you're growing through whatever you're going through. And this topic is actually going to be about when you go through things and when there's things that you're going through. So, you know, I wish I came more prepared today. This is not the video I wanted to make, not what I wanted to talk about, but I was not prepared. I didn't do my proper prior preparation to prevent possible poor performance, but we're here. So what we're going to talk about is I want to talk about, I'm reading Tobit, the book of Tobit, and in the writing, I'm only 4 chapters in. So I'm not, I haven't finished it by any means. I'm not all the way through the book, but throughout the 4 chapters, there's a couple things I noticed and I wanted to share it with you guys. I think it's going to be very beneficial, very encouraging, um, and very insightful. So in the writing, Tobit is a very righteous man. Tobit gives to the poor, to the orphans, to the widows. He goes to all the feast days. When everyone in the land defiled themselves, eating food of the other nations, or not of the other nations, but eating unclean food and all these things, he never did it. He always abstained from it. He always did what was right. He always kept Yahuah's commands. Tobit was the type of guy where there would be people when, let's say he's in another land or he's somewhere else, there would be people, maybe kings, that would do wicked things, have someone killed, leave their body on the middle of the road, and it would be unacceptable for anybody to come pick it up and move it. Tobit was the type of guy to go take that body when no one was looking, risk his life, and go give it a proper burial. That's how righteous Tobit was. He wanted to do everything he possibly could to be in line, in alignment with Yahuah's commands and will for us. He wanted to do right by other people. He wanted to do right by Yahuah. He didn't want to commit sin. He was a very, very, very righteous man. And you'd think, when you do everything right, not many things that don't go right will come upon you or happen to you. But Tobit was married, and Tobit had a wife, and he had a son. And one day, Tobit was very, very tired. He worked very hard. Tobit's a respected man. People know him. He's not rich, but he's not poor. He has money. He had increase enough to give to others, share, offer his first fruits, provide, give to other people. And one day, Tobit worked so hard, doing all the things he does. And Tobit came home and he slept by the wall in his house outside. And when he was sleeping on the wall, I think it was bird poop from one of the birds on top of the wall that fell down upon him. And it got in his eyes overnight. And the white discharge caused him to lose his sight. And Tobit became blind. And what happened with Tobit was he lost his eyesight. I'm sure he was frustrated. His wife had to work. So his wife went out and worked, she got a job, and she came home, and whoever she was working for, they gifted her a goat. They gave her a goat. And when she brought it home, Tobit was mad because he said, "Why would you steal this goat? Why would you take a goat and bring it here? How could you do that?" He can't see, remember. She just told him she brought a goat. And she was furious. She was so furious. She was so mad. She left the house. But when she was leaving, she's like, "You're so righteous. You think no one else can do anything that's good either. You think it's all about you." And what happened in that moment was he went into a deep, deep, deep state of frustration, shame, guilt, anger, and honestly sorrow. So much to the point where Tobit wanted to die. And when I say he wanted to die, think about this. You're a righteous man. You do all these things. You keep Yahuah's commands. You're almost blameless. You take care of people. You help out people in need. You go to all the feasts. You keep the commands. You abstain from all wickedness, from eating unclean food. You risk your life to give people who are killed and or murdered a proper burial. You do all these things. Provide for your family. But something happens now and you can't work. You're blind. You're pretty much unable to do a lot of the things you do and love to do because you can't even see. Your wife goes out to work. She comes home. She brings a goat. You're already in a low state. You don't believe her. You get in a big argument. She says some words. You exchange words you don't like. Very unpleasant. She leaves out the house. She storms. Now you're in the house. Man, you can't see any light at the end of the tunnel. You just can't see any light. Imagine going from where he was, doing what he was doing, to not even being able to see and going through what he's going through. He was frustrated. So much to the point where when I say he was in a deep state of sorrow, I mean, he said a full prayer to Yahuah to be killed. He said, Yahuah, take my spirit from me. He said, end my life. He saw no point. He did a full-on prayer. He prayed to Yahuah and said, Yahuah, please take my spirit from me and let my life end. And he had so much emunah that his prayer was going to get answered. You know what he did? Let's actually pause right there. I'll tell you what he did in a minute. There's another girl, and I think she's the king's daughter, and she's had 7 husbands. All 7 husbands have died, and they all died before the marriage could be consummated. So before it could be solidified and they fully became one and had the marriage, pretty much they were kind of like fiancés, but they were still her husband. All 7 died. And the people in her house, the maidservants, they all made fun of her and said, stay away from us. Don't even bring another man. What's the point? You're the husband killer. They called her the husband killer. She did nothing wrong. She did nothing wrong. All she wanted was a husband. And she was her only father's child. She was the only kid. So what happened was they're calling her husband killer. She's in a deep state of despair. And she starts saying a prayer to Yahuah. She doesn't want to live. She asks for her life to be taken, but then she stops herself and says, wait, I'm my father's only child. Without me, there's no heir. If I end myself now, my father will be in such a deep state of despair. He'll be so sad, so much to the point where it might kill him in his old age. So she wanted to die, but for the love of her father, she said no, and she prayed to Yahuah. And what happened in this moment? She's in a deep state of despair. Tobit's in a deep state of despair. Yahuah sends Raphael, the Malak, to the lady, and he has Raphael kill the demon that's leached onto this lady that kills all her husbands. He has that demon killed. And then he also sends that angel, Raphael, the Malak, to Tobit to have Tobit's eyes healed and restore his vision. And Yahuah's plan is to have that fixed, and then he'll that lady, that the husband killer, not the husband killer, but the one that lost all her husbands, that had the curse, she is now going to marry Tobit's son, Tobias. That's now the plan. So Yahuah restored her, even all the affliction she went through. He fixed it. He got rid of the demon. And now he's going to give her a husband, Tobit's son. And Yahuah is sending the Malak, Raphael, to Tobit to go fix his eyesight and have it restored so he can get back to where he was and start flowing again. But Tobit's situation hasn't been resolved yet. So Tobit gives this speech to his son. Tobit had a lot of money, and he left it with somebody. They're not poor. They're struggling. They're poor. But Tobit had left a large sum of money with someone in another land. I think that amount equated to like hundreds of thousands of dollars in US dollars today. And Tobit gave his son his whole speech. This is tying back to the point where I said, I'm going to show you how confident Tobit was that Yahuah was going to answer his prayer and end his life. Tobit gave a whole chapter's worth of a speech to his son on advice on how to live and what to do. And I'm going to do a breakdown on that because it's phenomenal, but extremely sound advice. He gives him a whole summary, and the advice is crazy. Like it's great. You know why he's giving him this speech, giving him this talk, telling him about the money he left with that guy in the other land and how to go get it? Because he believes his life is going to end. That's how confident he was in Yahuah. That's how confident he was that Yahuah was going to answer his prayer. That's how confident he was. He was giving his son his last words, making his last arrangements, his last wishes. Excuse me. Woo! But I say all that to say, guys, there's a big takeaway I want to talk about. Stop being arrogant. Stop being so arrogant. Stop being such an idiot. Stop thinking you know so much because you don't. And you're probably like, bro, what do you mean by that? I'll tell you what I mean by that. And I'll express it by talking about myself. Whenever I have a tough season, or I'm going through something difficult, or I'm going through hardships, or I feel like, man, no matter what I do, no matter which direction I go in, no matter if I try to run away, run towards it, run in a different direction, I get hit every single time from every possible direction in every part of my body. When I feel like I just can't see any light in the tunnel, and I'm like, man, this is not going to get better. How arrogant could you be thinking that, saying that? How arrogant? How selfish arrogant, egotistical, and foolish could you be to be so confident and things won't get better, to be so confident in the direction of where things are headed in? Look at these two examples. This lady had seven. Imagine finding 7 men you're in love with, or if you're a woman, if you're a guy, 7 women you're in love with, and they die every single time due to you, and you didn't even do anything, but it's something about you, a curse, a demon, something leeching onto you that's ending these guys' lives and tainting your image. How would you feel? So much to the point where you want to die, but you stop yourself because your one loved one needs you. If you were Tobit going through a situation, how would you feel? Would you want to live? If you were Job, would you want to live losing all that stuff? These guys pray to have their lives ended, but in the background, Yahuah was working. Yahuah was making sure things were going to get right. He was setting up an arrangement. He was using these situations. He was allowing them to go through it, to grow through it. And then he was arranging things in a way where in the end, things would be so much better. So much better. So stop being arrogant. Whenever you're going through a tough time, I really just want to encourage you today. Whenever you're going through a tough time, whenever things are so difficult, you can't see any light at the end of the tunnel, have just a little bit of a moon, just like a mustard seed, like Yahuah said, and you'll be able to move mountains. If you can move mountains with a little bit of amuna, how much more do you think Yahuah will do for you with your little amuna? Have some amuna in Yahuah. Be confident. He will take care of you. Whatever it is you're going through, if you want to be the sharpest sword and be able to conquer the most demons and win the most battles, what do you have to go through? You have to go through the most refining. You have to go through the hottest fires. You just have to. So if you really want a reward that's so worth it, or if you really want to be on top or as high up as possible, you're gonna have to go through a lot of stuff, a lot of it. But the main thing is don't give up. It's difficult, but many other people have been through these tough things and they made it out just fine. And I think you can too. But more importantly, have a Muna and Yahuah, because no matter what you're going through, even though it might seem difficult, you might not see any light at the end of the tunnel, you don't know what it is he's working up for you. You don't know why he's putting you through what you're going through. Now, mind you, a lot of the things we go through are self-inflicted. We bring it upon ourselves. But when there's things that just, you're like, man, I don't even get it, have a Muna and Yahuah, because he's working and he's the perfect planner. And he'll make sure, as long as you do what you need to do, that you'll be just fine. That's it, guys.